Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's been a while since I've last been on live. So I'm glad to be back. It's a little bit of a change in routine from our usual Saturday night live, and we're doing something a little bit different as well this time round. So we're streaming live across a couple of platforms. So we're streaming live on YouTube as well as TikTok for the first time. Um, so we'll see how the TikTok live goes as well, because it's the first time we've done it. We'll give it a test out and see what happens with that. So let's see who comes in to join us. Let's have a look at the people who come in and say hello. So it's, yeah, like I say, it's been a while. I think it's been over 2 months since I last went live. Um, and we took a break for Ramadan, and then after that there was just a few things that got in the way that stopped us from coming live again. But I just needed, I mean, I took a little bit longer than I needed to, simply because I needed the time. I mean, I needed the personal time. And Saturday nights is sort of clashing with family time, which is why I've moved it to Fridays. And we'll see what happens with the live tonight. And we'll run a Friday night live for a few weeks and see how that's working out. And we'll see where we're going with that. So let's see who's coming to join us. I'm trying to keep an eye on two chats at the minute. I've got a couple of people on the TikTok live, and we've got 15 people in on YouTube. So let's see who's coming. KSQ Gardening, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Don't crop me now. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Home Allotment and Veggie Beds, Ben, Michael, Wild Scotland, and Adam Heath. Welcome to everyone. Thank you all very much for joining us. I'm glad you're all here. Who have we got in there? So let's see. How is everyone keeping? Adam, the spelling is perfect. Thank you very much. So Michael, you just found our channel. I'm glad you found us, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I hope we're being of some benefit as well. Let's see who the people are in. No, let's leave that. So hang on, what's going on here? So we've got a couple of people in TikTok. I can't quite see who's in there. I don't know how the chat's working on that. So if you're joining me on TikTok, you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit while I figure out how it actually works as well. So bear with me on that. Phil, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Am I in Bangladesh? No, I'm back home now. I'm back in Leeds, sunny Leeds, and it's been an absolutely scorching day for today and yesterday. Absolutely belting hot, really hot. So it almost feels like I'm in Bangladesh actually. That's one of the things that I was missing since I came back, was the heat. I mean, I love hot weather, and since I came back, since I came back, the first few days was quite cold, or it felt quite cold after coming from 30, 40 degree heat to sort of 15, 16. But the last couple of days here has been absolutely beautiful. Today, I thought we're going to have a nice relaxing day out. I got home from work early, so I thought I'd have a nice relaxing day in the garden. But it ended up being a no holds barred, trying to clean the shed out and get everything tidied up. So we've had some rats nesting in the shed over the winter, and it absolutely stunk. There's, they made a mess in there, so we're fixing that up all day. But we've managed to do it, and I've got a couple of beans planted out as well now. So we've got a few things going. So let's see who's coming in. You've inspired me to start going, Michael. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you're growing again. I think, especially now more than any other time, it's more important that we're all growing some sort of food. There's just something that's happening in the air at the moment, where I feel there's going to be a risk to food security. So it's an important skill that we all develop, and it's an important skill that we all rekindle, and we're all growing something just to get us through. So on TikTok, we've got someone username Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullah. There's a couple of people I can't quite see who it is, but with TikTok, your usernames are a little bit longer, so I can't. I'll get used to everyone once you've joined us a few times, and then we'll have a bit more of a chat. So it's my second year. It's my second year growing. Still lots of mistakes though. Look, the mistakes are all a learning curve. You know, you learn from your mistakes. Lots of things that you're going to pick up. Lots of things that you're going to. I mean, if I go if I talk about the number of plants that I've killed, I just won't get, I just won't go move forward. I just put a video on Patreon showing all the the state of the garden after I got back. All my beans are gone. All my quite probably about 4 or 5 of my squash are gone. Well, 4 or 5 of my squash. That's more than half of my squash that have gone. My courgettes are all gone. My cucumbers are all dead. So don't we all make mistakes, but if we learn about why we feel, why we make mistakes, then we can if we can figure out why we make those mistakes, then we can try and rectify them and use it as a learning experience. I'm now going to be potting up my chilies into the final pots in the greenhouse this weekend. See, I did that. I did a mad, the day before I went away. The day before I went away, and up until we left the house we flew out on a Sunday, so we left the house on Friday, 4 o'clock on Sunday, and I was still in the garden planting things out at 3 o'clock. So all my chilies, the bigger chilies, they all got planted out before I went away. And what I did with the things that were left in, cells, seed cells and stuff like that, I potted them all up into pots with as much compost in as possible, so I can get them through while I'm not looking after them. But yeah, so a lot of the chilies and the stuff that were in the greenhouse got through all right. It's just some of the stuff that were outside, they got completely demolished by slugs. I mean, one of the things when I'm in the garden, even when there's when we are getting slug attacks, you can take action and rectify it. So if you see a slug nibble on a leaf one day, you can put down some copper, you can put down some, you can set traps for them, you can be a bit more proactive. But when you're sort of away from them for a couple of weeks, the slugs are, that they're just going to take they're just going to take liberties. Oh my god, I remember going on holiday, leaving chili seedlings in mum's greenhouse. That must have been quite, unless someone was watering them regularly, that must have left them in a bit of a state. So my first allotment plot's been keeping me busy. Adam, that's fantastic. Lots of questions. Fire away with your questions. I mean, there's lots of experienced growers in here. Yeah, if I can't answer, there's lots of people who will be able to answer, and that's what I love about this gardening community, is so many people are willing to support each other and help each other, get through. So I just have 100. I just have you 181 likes. 181 likes in here. Oh, wicked! Nice one. I've never done. It's the first time I've done a TikTok live, so we'll see how this actually goes. We've got 12 people watching, and so sad seeing them half dead and never quite recovered to grow and produce. The thing is, once they've had a bit of a shock like that, they will take a bit of time to recover. Some will recover if you pot them on and you give them a bit of a feed and get them over, but some won't recover. It'll take them more than a year, because you've got to remember with chilies especially, is they're a short-lived perennial, so that a chili plant will, in its native environment, will quite comfortably live 5-6 years, that sort of time period. I've got a video coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be the first tour or first garden tour in Bangladesh, and you'll be able to see a rooftop garden, and you'll see quite a few chili plants, some chili plants as tall as I am, and probably some of the stalks 1.5 inches thick, really woody, really thick chili stalks. So yeah, you'll see some of those plants, and you'll see a different way of growing. And it's not going to be the all-out farm style growing. It's going to be those people who are living in flats, growing on a rooftop, growing on a balcony, and we'll see how different people grow in different environment. So let's see. So 12 of them need door open for hot air. Oh, there we go. We've got the munchkins coming in to join us. So awesome that you get your little ones involved. See, I can't stop them getting involved. They're even coming in and invade the live. Stop it. Okay. They'll even come in and invade the live and turn it into a bit of a WrestleMania kind of thing. But guys, if you haven't, we've got 19 people in YouTube and 9 likes. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like.
Actually, 17 people.
I'll appreciate it very much. Same with TikTok. If you haven't hit that like, please hit that like. We've got 5 people watching over there, so that's okay. Please stop it. Let's have a look. So talking about failures, most of my garlic has not really has got really bad rust. Rust, we get rust every year, but we grow a lot earlier. See, like there's this old saying about planting on the shortest day and harvesting on the longest day, and that sort of thing. And for me, that just doesn't work because of things like rust, because of things like I want to get other plants into that space. So what I've done this year, what I always do is I always plant towards the end of September, early October, that sort of time, and I'm able to harvest end of May, early June. I've left my garlic in the ground at the moment deliberately so I can do a video, because what I did last year was I did this plant on the shortest day and I'm going to harvest on the longest day, so I can do an comparison between the two and show you, look, what I've got a similar sized bed, and compared to a similar sized bed with the method that I normally use, and we'll compare the two and see how they get on in terms of garlic quality, garlic quantity, just overall health of the garlic as well. So you'll see that little experiment. My sister always annoyed at bro-in-law doing everything himself in garden for hours. See, that's why I think it's important to get the family involved. If everyone gets involved, everyone has a little tinker about, everyone does a little thing that they want to do, then you can turn it into a family quality time. So Ali, can I put my glass clippings on my flower beds? Absolutely, you can. Just watch out if you're using, if they're tender sort of plants, just keep it away from the stems. If you do have a slug problem, then it can be a nest for slugs. But one of the important things with things like that is making sure that you've got a balanced ecosystem. So if you do get slugs, then you've got something to eat the slugs. Graham Arnold, how are you doing, sir? Thank you very much for coming in. Compost John, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. So Diane is saying, I bought a lot of orange buckets from B&Q 99p to use as plots. So they're a good size. They're fantastic size. 10-litre bucket, you'll get plenty in there. And because of the thickness of the plastic, it'll last for, you'll probably get 10 years out of it if you look after it. I've tried to grow mango plants or grapevines. I've got a couple of mango trees in the house, but they're never going to produce. They're there as trees. I've shown them on previous videos a few times on YouTube. So I do have mango trees. I've got a couple of grapevines in the garden, but I'll admit I'm not an expert when it comes to grapevines. I'm still learning when it comes to grapevines. I've had trouble with my butternut squash so far. 2 lots have struggled once planted into my plot bed, yellowing off. Adam, whereabouts in the country are you? Because I've had a couple of plants yellowing off because it's just not been warm enough. I planted everything in May. It was really warm. It looked like it was really going to be, fine. And then it got into the start of June and it just wasn't warm enough for squash outside. And I've seen some of my plants struggle simply because it's not warm enough. So if you're not, if you've got a cloche on them for overnight, then I think that's important. Yeah, that's probably one of the big things. Elias Muhammad, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. My brother recently moved to Manchester, and I recommend your YouTube channel. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing our channel. Sunshine, hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for coming in. It's been a while. Hope everything is good. Good with you. I'm growing veggies and veggies right now and herbs. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that you're growing something. And it's good to hear from you as well. Um, do you think it would be okay to lift my overwintered garlic next week, Graham? I think with garlic, do you know how with onions you wait for the plant to fall over and you wait for quite a few of the outer stems to start turning yellow? With garlic, they don't have. Let me describe an onion bulb first. Each layer of an onion bulb forms matches to an outer layer, and has can turn into a bit of skin. With garlic, it doesn't. It's not the same. The amount of skin level layers on top is a lot less. So if you let too many outer leaves turn yellow, then what can happen is you won't have the same amount of protection that you need over the garlic, and it won't store as well. That's one of the things that I'll be showing in my next video. Personally, I planted my garlic in the middle of October last year, and ideally what I would have done is I would have harvested my garlic last week, but because of this experiment that I'm doing, or this comparison video, I'm not going to be harvesting it for. I'm gonna I had a look at it today. It looks quite bad. I might have to harvest it tomorrow just to not let it go to waste. Otherwise, I might wait till next week to harvest it. Let's see. Back to Monera Begum, my grapevine and mango are fruiting for the first time this year after 4 years. Your mango's fruiting. Are you in the UK and your mango's fruiting? That's amazing if that's true. Do you think so? West Midlands, Stoke is quite an open allotment site. Gets cold wind. See if it's an open allotment site. One of the things that you might want to think about doing is getting some fruit trees planted, because if you plant the fruit, if you plant the fruit trees in the direction of where you get a lot of wind from, you can create yourself a little wind barrier. That's one of the things that I've done with the fruit trees at the bottom of my garden. So I've got the fruit trees at the bottom of my garden, and they work as a wind barrier to protect the rest of the garden, because I always get a really strong wind from the bottom of the garden. So I already got a help plant out an edible York bed at Tower York, and someone thought the leaves were edible like chives and cut them off. Some have regrown. The leaves are edible, so garlic leaves are edible. So just like onion leaves, you can chive leaves, you can eat the whole leaves. We eat the whole leaves. Good quality garlic leaves. They're really nice, and in salads, in curries, they add an extra level of flavor. So they are really good. Depends on when you pick the garlic leaves. If you pick some of the tender ones from the middle as they're maturing, then it won't affect the size of the bulb. But if you're picking too many leaves off a single plant when it's at the growing stage, that's when you'll affect the size of the bulb. Mike, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. New for me this year is Perennial Kale. Anyone growing it? So I think Taunton Kale is that what it's called as well. I got a couple of cuttings of that last year, and we've got that in the ground. It's the first time. I'll admit we're not big fans of kale at our house, so we'll see how we get on with that. So Munir is saying it was a graft from Bangladesh. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Fantastic. Really good effort, guys. If you don't mind hitting that like for me as you're coming in, that'd be really good. So we've got a few people over in on TikTok. So so it's the first time we're trying this multi-platform streaming. Next time, if I get another device, I might even go live on Instagram at the same time. Let's see what happens. Prince and Pottermore on a 2 winter squash would taste great, but really easy to grow. Oh, okay. Oh, Crown Prince. There you go. Yeah, Crown. I love Crown Prince. That's one of my favorites. So they're one of the ones that I'm growing quite a few Crown Prince this year. Well, I was growing quite a few Crown. I was growing quite a few Crown Prince this year. 3 out of my 4 plants have been eaten by slugs. So there we go. I've got 1 plant left in the ground, so let's see how that does. But yeah, it's sad when that happens, you know. But you live, you learn. I'm not going on holiday. I'm not going away every year, so or all the time. So it's something a little bit different. So let's see what happens. Mike, I'm growing perennial kale for the so Baltic Homestead. Gary, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Still pretty small, but I look forward to a solid harvest in a few weeks. Sunshine, I'm growing zucchini squash and yellow squash. They're high yield. I'm getting so many at one time. Yeah, once you grow zucchinis and you grow courgettes, they will. Yeah, there's a meme that goes around all the time. You know, you teach a woman to garden, and the whole neighborhood gets zucchinis or gets courgettes. If you're in England, but yeah, it's something that's quite true. It's funny, but it's quite true. So Taunt and Dean.
On TikTok as well?
Yeah, so we're live on TikTok and on YouTube at the same time. Okay.
Actually, it's your jacket, but
it's my jacket.
But it was hanging on my door. You can have your jacket back.
CW, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope all is good. Just finished the Amazon deliveries. Miss all shows.
Okay,
so look, it's the first time I've been live for more than 2 months. So you haven't missed me, and hopefully that we're going to be sticking to live on Friday night now, rather than our usual Saturday, and then that'll just give me the whole of Saturday to spend with the family. But it was causing a few issues, but let's see how this goes, and if it goes all right, then we'll keep it up. I've got Hendrik, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in, joining us from Egypt. Hope all is good. I've got a few spare plants, but I've got potting shed once this hot spell's passed. I might see how things go. Rahman Raja, wa alaikum assalam. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in, brother. Hope everything's good with you. MashaAllah. So Joan, how are you doing? Gardening D, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Could you give me advice to get spider mites away from moringa seedlings? So spider mites, try, so with the things like spider mites on the plant, washing up liquid is your go-to. Neem oil is one that's worth it. What I'd also do is either dust the surface of the soil with wood ash, or I'd dust the surface of the soil with diatomaceous earth. So that's one of the things that I'd try. But I've never grown moringa itself, but in terms of spider mites, they're my go-to. They'll work. So guys, as you're coming in, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like, that'd be really good. So please do hit that like for me. I'd appreciate it. So let's see where we're at now. I wondered if you were recovering from the election. No. So it was Ramadan, so I took a break for Ramadan, and then I just extended that break a little bit longer because I needed some personal time. And then I went to Bangladesh for a couple of weeks, and I came back last Friday I came back, and today's the first live in about 2 months. So we've got little Zaki crying in the background if you can hear him. Planted my cucumber dar into pots yesterday. The plan is to grow them for my 2 daughters' lunchboxes. They're very small. Oh, Adam, that's lovely. See, cucumbers this year have been, cucumbers this year are going to be a miss for me because yeah, I planted them all out just before I went away, and they've all gone. They're pretty much all gone. So what we did this week is my mum's back now, so she's put some emergency seeds in some pots. Let's see how they pot up, and once. Well, I mean, she's back, so I'm sure we're going to get more things germinated and get more things going now. But you'll know from the state of things, you'll know who's doing a lot of the work there. You're actually, yeah, that was loud. So can sympathise over the slugs have been really bad this year on the west of so many plants. I'm ashamed to admit it. I've put down pellets. There's some good pellets you can get actually. I mean, there's some suitable for organic gardeners. So there's the iron pellets and there's the wool pellets. So as long as it's not the I forget the name, the old, but the thing about the iron pellets, the new iron pellets, they paint, they're coloured blue as well, so they look like so yeah, they look like what do you call it? The old style pellets anyway. So Toss Stone, how are you doing? Does anyone have any advice about starting persimmon seeds? Yeah, it is winter where I am. So I've got a couple of persimmon trees, but I bought them as young twigs. I'm actually going to plant them out into the ground this year. So I don't know. With regards to starting the seeds off, I couldn't give you a great deal of advice, but once they turn into young trees and they've got established, they really do take care of themselves. So all food from Egypt, the sun steps in and the hot plants have issues by this. But you should get lots of chilies though in that heat. Someone I have some rooting powder is any useful? I tried it, but no good progress. It can be useful for if you're doing cutting. So if you're taking rose cuttings or that sort of hardwood cuttings or just semi hardwood cuttings, dip a little bit of hormone rooting powder can help. But equally as good is willow sap. So let me just willow sap. So if you get a bit of willow sap, mix it in some oil. That's equally as good. What else is good is some honey as well. That's also quite good. So you could use that if you don't want to use the rooting hormone. Cucumber plants are still very small. What can I do to improve the growth? So if you've got them in pots and they're filling up the pot that they're in, pot them up. Give them a little bit of chicken manure, and that'll boost encourage it to put on a lot of fleshy growth. And then once it's done that, then you can transplant it into the ground that you want it in. Emergency seeds, yeah. So my mum's done a bit of that. It kills me. It kills, and it's not harmful to the plants. So Sunshine, I missed your comment. What was that? I spray more. Okay, there with Dawn washing powder and liquid. Yeah. So washing up liquids is quite useful for stuff like that. I'm going to plant a naga I got from you in a 100-litre pot after watching Chili Chump saying he's attempting a giant chili. See, there's I can't remember. We got one that was I got a chili last year that was about I can't remember the size of it, but it was a good handful anyway. But it was a habanero. The nagas don't grow that wide, but if you can keep the heat on, I mean nagas grow into small trees. Easily 5-6 foot. So David Carlisle, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Hope everything's good with you. Daniel Zulfakar, assalamu alaikum. Started watching your channel recently. Any recommendations on where to start? I've just moved out and have some space, which I'm looking to start growing some vegging. Are you trying to grow in the ground or are you trying to grow in containers? Because if you're trying to grow in containers, check out a video that I did on going specifically on containers, starting a container garden. That'll really be helpful. That'll be really useful for a beginner. It's aimed at beginners as well. Now, if you're going to grow in the ground, figure out what type of grass what type of soil that you've got. Is it clay? Is it sandy? What kind of soil have you got? And then, if it's clay soil, is it full of couch grass? Is it full of perennial weeds? If it's full of perennial weeds, you're going to need to dig those out. And then once you've got your ground prepared, you won't need to dig it again for a very long time, as long as you take the right measures. Lots of mulch, and lots of mulch. There's a time to plant gherkins. We do loads after midsummer. Okay. So, but Gary, when does your winter start? Our strawberry plants died from dampening it off. We had like 7 of them. That's crazy. I mean, strawberry plants are one of the hardiest plants that are around. I'm surprised they're dying of dampening off. Did you have your roots too far down, and were they too wet? Love to see you back live. Greetings from sunny South Wales. It's the first live back, so let's see how things go on this. I've 4 apple trees, a few years old. They all got orange spot disease. Do you know about this? Orange spot on apples is quite common. I wouldn't worry about the orange spot on the apples, but if you've got those silver leaves gone grey and dead, if you've got those silver grey leaves, then one of the things that you want to be doing is giving it a good antibacterial wash in autumn, giving the tree a good antibacterial wash in autumn, making sure any of those sort of infected leaves that fall around the floor are taken up and moved away, the plant's mulched, mulched and fed, and it's so it's in the strongest condition. So I've been on nights this week and just not been motivated to get out and water when I get home from work, somewhat dreading the horrors I'll find when I get out there tomorrow morning. See, at the moment, that's one of the things that's really important, because I don't know when it last rained. I really don't know when it really last properly rained. Before I went away, so I went away at the end of May, and for us in Leeds, it hadn't rained properly for about 2 months. So if it's rained properly in the meantime, then that's a good thing. But the ground is quite dry, so especially if you've got young seedlings, getting that water on the ground is going to be quite important for them. Salam, how do you get rid of big slug infestation? I can't seem to get rid of them. I've done a video over on my YouTube channel called on nematodes. Nematodes are absolutely fantastic on building and dealing with slugs, but it takes a little bit of time for them to build up in your ecosystem, as well as building up a good habitat for things like toads, for hedgehogs, for encouraging birds to come in and eat the slugs as well. So it's important to build that ecosystem, not just sticking down loads of pellets and getting rid of them. So what's my job? My job is I do lots of things.
Accountant.
I'm a chartered accountant.
Gardener.
I'm a gardener, and I teach in madrasa as well. So
and a YouTuber.
Yeah, so I do lots of things. Someone's talking about Epsom salt. Epsom salt is okay when it comes to using for starting seedlings, but it can be a problem. It can cause soil imbalances. It can potentially cause your plant to take up less calcium in the long run. So be careful when you come to Epsom salt.
On the concrete, there was a big fat slug. Dad put some salt on it and it died.
Lots of rust on the garlic here too, and also them bolting and trying to flower early. See, Yeah, rust is a problem here as well. Yeah, it's quite bad. See, I'm at my family garden while in another chat room. No matter, yeah. Pro, well, Sunshine, we've known each other from ever since I started on YouTube, pretty much. Uh, yeah,
What's that? My family.
yeah. G brings some new seeds from Bangladesh. I didn't this time. I think I got a couple of chili seeds from some people that were growing them, but I didn't bring many seeds over this time. I've got loads left over from last time, and one of the problems is that a lot of the Monsanto seeds are getting in now. So people are, and a lot of the younger gardeners are leaving. Uh, yeah, a lot of the younger gardeners are leaving sort of the traditional methods of going for the Monsanto seeds, and the Monsanto seeds come Roundup ready. Yeah, and that's one of the things that Uncle, do you grow strawberries? Look, that's the, see, TikTok's done this to me twice now. Everyone calls me bro. Everyone calls me brother, and now TikTok, these TikTokers,
Who's TikTok?
they're calling me uncle.
Who TikTok? Yeah, we got strawberries. I just
We got
picked some.
we got loads of strawberries.
I just
Absolutely
picked
loads
some.
of strawberries. Uh,
I saw lots of big ones.
so I need to get my biryani.
What they say?
All right, go enjoy your biryani.
What's biryani?
Bakbiran.
Oh.
I've got some Atlantic giant pumpkin seeds germinating with. Hope I'll get some. See, it's always fun to try and grow some big veg. But Adam, if you ever want to get serious about growing big veg, get some seeds off a experienced seed grower. Yeah, so pick some. So someone like Dean, someone like Tony. If you can get some seeds off those guys,
Who Tony is again?
Tony O'Neill.
Oh,
If you can
yeah.
get some seeds off those guys, then that'll be good. I mean, Dean does. He did quite a few giant seed packs at the start of this year, and he sold quite a few seed packs. But I'm sure he'll have some more for sale soon, or he has them anyway regularly. Yeah, see, slugs and snails, when they're slithering, they don't like it, but they always remember one thing about slugs is they burrow underground as well. Do I have an allotment? No, I don't have an allotment. I grow everything in my back garden.
Wait, did we used to have an allotment?
Before you were born.
No, I remember we had this
Long before you were
thing.
born.
You went there every day and you brought us really showing around. Can you remember?
No, well, we nearly
was that?
shared someone's allotment for a little bit.
Oh,
So, guys,
someone
if you
else's allotment.
yeah, someone else's. So, guys, if you haven't hit that like, please hit that like for me. We're getting up there. So living dangerously this year. Got a few smelly plants in the greenhouse. Any questions asked?
You can take a lot of
It's a
these.
tomato plant. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's TikTok. Yeah, that's TikTok.
Oh.
So Dragon Queen. Hope you're keeping well. Hope
that why
everything's
they're
good with
hearts?
you. Yeah, so we're getting hearts
TikTok.
on TikTok.
What's this?
The
The thing that said ×2.
times two, I don't know.
Yeah.
So sent TikTok.
I think he said he sent this.
Or is that a fingers up or something? I don't know what that is. I'm too blind. See.
But that's the TikTok sign.
Okay, it's a TikTok sign. Okay. Oh, wicked! It's a gift. Oh, nice one.
TikTok.
There we go. So Ismail Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for coming in. See, I've read that planting strong smelling flowers can help keep bugs away. Sunshine, that's exactly what I do. Do you know, if you have a look at, I've got a video called on companion planting, and with me, my companion planting methodology is all about preventing pests, and my whole idea is using smelly plants. So I use loads of onions, loads of coriander, loads of garlic, loads of basil, anything that has a strong pungent smell, marigolds. So anything that has any sort of smell or oil, essential oils that you can take from it, then I use those plants to try and distract pests or hide plants that are a little bit sensitive to pests. So yeah. So yeah, have a look at that video. It's quite good.
How come we only brought one fassa back?
How come you didn't? You brought two fajas back.
No, we gave them to us.
So we brought two back then, didn't we? You should have so you should have plenty of time for the cucumbers. So we'll have a look at those little cucumbers. So cheers, mate. But yes, sweetie.
Accent of the car.
Okay. So, is there anyone going to Cairo, Egypt?
I want to go to Egypt.
We want to go to Egypt, but I think we're way away from going anywhere for a while. This Bangladesh trip's just pretty much emptied us. Am I Bangladeshi? Absolutely, yes, I am Bangladeshi.
Where?
You'll see if you look on my TikTok videos, you'll see lots of videos on my recent trip to Bangladesh. Tomorrow there's going to be a new video released on a rooftop garden from Bangladesh, and we'll see how that, how people are growing over there.
Did you take me there?
We took you there, but you didn't come on the tour because you talk too much. One of many talents. I can't find a real garden shovel here, a real spade. They normally use the African digging hose over there, don't they? So yeah, my school was 99% Bangla kids. Whereabouts? Are you in London or something? I think you.
I only got 2 people in my class who are Bangla.
I live in the forest and I always have problems with snails and slugs. Is there any good way to get rid of them when you're living in my environment? I think for you, a pond and getting toads in, frogs, toads.
We had frogs.
If you're in a forest, are there any hedgehogs close by? Eliminating environments for the slugs to hide as well. Setting out traps around plants, using, if you're growing a tomato plant or like a young squash plant, using copper rings. They're expensive, but copper rings are quite good.
What's copper rings?
And the rings of copper, we've got some downstairs that we need to be actually using. Stephen, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Mr. Piper.
Oh.
I just need a good method of freezing my squash. See, with squash, we grow a lot of gourds and we just chop them up, peel them, chop them, and direct straight into the freezer. So depending on what you want to use the squash for afterwards. So if it's something like a butternut squash, as long as they're quite mature and the skin's quite thick, they'll store as they are for quite a while. A lot of squash, your courgettes and stuff, they won't store as well and they won't freeze as well either, simply because the water content's too much. Yeah, so London, that's the only thing that, sounded about right. Are Wilco seeds GM Santa, are they good to use? Well, I use Wilco seeds. I use Wilco seeds. The thing, GM seeds, there's very few GM seeds in the UK.
What's GM?
Genetically modified seeds. So there's very few of those in the UK, but there are lots of seeds with insecticides and herbicides on them. So just be careful with them.
Oh, no snails here.
Something is eating the green tops of my garlic plants, and it's not slugs. Any idea what it could be? They're eating the tops off the garlic plants. Your plant's about ready to harvest. I don't know what's eating.
Wait, chickens?
Have you got chickens eating them? That's what my daughter's asking. But I don't know what could be eating the garlic.
Maybe they died.
I've not really had anything eat my garlic.
It's like 10 rhino followers.
So I don't know, guys. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like as well. So
how many likes do we have?
We've got 35 on YouTube, and I don't know if that's right or not, but apparently 2.2 thousand.
No, that's how much you have altogether.
No, that's not how much I have altogether. I've got more than that altogether. So I started on TikTok about a couple of months ago. I've been using it seriously for about a month.
Seriously.
and I'm still getting the hang of it. So bear with me if I'm doing some things that don't fit on TikTok or do something funny. I'm doing loads of things funny.
You only do to gardening.
Gardening's funny.
No, it isn't.
I planted the gourds, the fig leaf one that one got slugged quite badly, but has started growing again. But the round ones look better. See,
I have an idea.
your round ones doing on me exercise. I'm not doing that.
Why?
So
pretend this is really heavy.
yeah, so the round ones, once they get established, will be fine, but the fig leaf will bounce back, and once it does, it'll romp away. Once it gets its roots in the ground, it'll go flying.
Just to get a new prime minister.
What's happened there?
Well,
I don't know, but okay. So for some reason, my TikTok live just finished itself.
no big surprise.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to my TikTok live. It was there a second ago, and it's finished now. Go on, Simon.
Okay. I will.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened to the TikTok live, but it's finished. So it's just I'm just on YouTube now. Let's see. Let's catch up with everyone on YouTube. So by the way, I did buy a nice grinder mill for the eggshell to turn it into powder. I wouldn't, Hendrik. I don't know. I wouldn't bother with that, because even when you've got eggshells as powder, before it's plant available, it'll take a couple of years even then. So one of the ways to try and get it immediately ready for plants to uptake is mix it with some vinegar. So dissolve the eggshells in some vinegar and then use that solution onto the soil. That'll make it a little bit more readily available. But even powdered eggshells, before it becomes plant ready, will take a couple of years. A guy in France has been working on developing a vegetable seeds for more than 30 years. He never waters the plants. I mean, that sounds interesting. There's some things. I mean, there's a variety of potatoes that we grow called Desiree. That's quite drought tolerant. There's a lot of plants that are quite drought tolerant. See, things like that. Selective breeding is one thing, but GM's a completely different thing. That I'm not a great fan of. So. His name is Pascal Poot. Might want to check him out. I'll have a gander and see what I can find. But things like my garlic, I very rarely water my garlic. Things like my onions, I very rarely water them. Things like my potatoes, I don't water them at all. Simply because of the way I grow, and I capture water into the ground. Spuds have been busy with pot plots. Just got to weed them now. Most tough planted out. Whitefly in the greenhouse. How are you getting whitefly in the? I thought you'd be protected from whitefly in the greenhouse. Are you using neem oil in there? It must be lungi time soon. We've got to get some lungi videos up. I'll have a lungi video out in the next few weeks while I'm in Bangladesh. But I'll be honest with you, Stephen, I was in a lungi in my garden today. It was hot enough to be in a lungi in the garden today. So I use eggshell powder in my wormery. It helps the worms digest food. It also seems to encourage them to get a little bit frisky. See, that's a different thing. Using the worm powder in your worm bin. See, that's a way of introducing grit to them and helping them digest things. See, for me, I use egg shells, but I just crunch them up. But in order to give them enough grit and stuff to digest with, I just chuck a couple of shovelfuls of soil in there, and that's got all the bacteria and everything else that they need. I don't powder my eggshells. See, I think powdering eggshells it can take quite a bit of time. I did it once very early on. So I did it once, I microwaved them, and man, that stunk. And then I powdered them, and then once I did a bit more research into eggshells and found out how resilient they are, because it's calcium carbonate, it just takes forever to break down, because it's quite calcium carbonate is quite a solid, it's quite a stable compound, and for that to break down, it takes a lot of effort. See, crush my eggshells and then feed them back to my chickens mixed with their feed. I've heard of people doing that. Yeah, it's a good way of getting calcium back to them. Yeah. So, what's everyone's plans for the rest of this weekend? We've got Saturday and Sunday, a couple of nice days ahead coming up. The weather's looking good. So, yeah, what's everyone's plans for this year? What can I sow now for a harvest this year? Cucumbers. You can sow lettuce. Well, you can always sow lettuce. I wouldn't sow any radishes now because they'll tend to bolt because of the long days. I'd wait till August to sow radishes again. But I've got a video on what you can sow in June, what you can sow in July. There's loads you can still be sowing right now. Girl Gardener, how are you doing? Long time no see. I know it's been a while since I've been live, and maybe we're going to be sticking to a Friday night going forward. I think we're going to stick to Friday night for at least a couple of weeks and see how everything works out. I need to plant out the chili house and all the polytunnel. Yeah, so that's your job for this weekend. Are you going for another record-breaking long chili? Your chili last year, absolutely amazing. What'd you get? 43 centimeters or something. That's just amazing, absolutely amazing. If I can get anything close to that this year, then I'll be quite happy. I didn't get around to planting your Thunder Mountain. They arrived. I know you sent them me, and I got them sat on my bookshelf. And I just with everything going on, I just never got around to planting them. But definitely for next year. I think that's against DEFRA guidance in the UK. I suspect a lot of home poultry owners ignore the rules and assume they won't be caught. Throw molasses or dilute cane sugar in the worm if short of old fruit this time of year, bulked up with young, tender weedlings. Yeah, so your long chilies were legendary last year. I'll see molasses in compost. I love that. Amanda, I absolutely love that. I probably won't do anything tomorrow as we're expecting heavy rain, but just tidy up a bit. If it's heavy rain tomorrow, I'm digging some channels in the garden tonight, maybe early morning tomorrow. I'm gonna check the forecast, and if it is heavy rain, then I'm gonna dig some more channels in the garden to try and capture as much rain as I can. Meant to rain with us tomorrow, but planning to get some Greek giants bean plants planted tomorrow. Potatoes earthed up with more hay and lots of weeding and compost making. Sunshine, you take care. It's been good. I'm glad you came in and had a nice chat with us, and yeah, and glad to hear you keeping well as well. It's good when old friends come in. Do you know, see, Sunshine, we've been known each other since I started on YouTube. Absolutely, yeah. So nearly 3.5 years ago now. I'm in Staffordshire. Not sure what the forecast is up north. I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna have a gander once we get off this live. I'll have a gander and see what our forecast is tomorrow, and decide on what I'm gonna do. But there's a couple of channels I need to dig anyway. There's one that I've got that's dug up that I'll just need to clear out because it's got a little bit full. If it's a dry day tomorrow, I'll be digging the last veg patch and getting some winter veg seeds sown. What winter veg are you going to be sowing? Cabbages, broccolis, that sort of thing. Yeah, so I've actually enjoyed being back. You know, I'll tell you what, whenever I'm away from being live, I actually miss this live, because this live is a great chance to see quite a few of you, have a good chat, have a bit of banter. Yeah, and I do miss it when I'm not here. Where up north is your garden? It's proper north. It's Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. I think this year the garden is super slow. Things just look like they're not going at all. May was really nice, and I think the start of June was quite cold. So I think that's what set things back, and the lack of rain as well. You know, it's just really been bad with rain this year. The lack of water in the ground, I think, has caused a lot of problems. So Toss saying winter here, so it's not so busy. But can you grow all year round, even in winter though? Because you're right about the feeding eggshells back to a backyard chicken. In fact, we're only supposed to feed backyard chickens kitchen scraps from our own veggie plots, not scraps from our store-bought veg. But at the same time, it's, you know, with that feeding kitchen scraps, if you're from a vegan household, you can feed from that. But I mean, lots of people don't follow that chicken scraps rule. The kitchen gardener, Liz Zorab did a good video on that just last week. Okay, right. So we've hit the 9 o'clock mark, guys. I've had a blast having a good chat with you all. We're in the garden at the moment. There's Steven Seagal swooping about. Steven Seagal. Right. Okay. We're past the 9 o'clock mark. So I'm gonna call it a night here, and yeah, I'll see you again next weekend. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If it stops. There we go.